All right, we're live. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. This has been a fun week. It's Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. We are on Inside Participate on Twitch, and we're also on Steve Isaac's channel on Twitch as well, streaming in both places, whatever floats your boat, friends. We're pretty excited this morning to be talking about CREYGames. It's a kind of a little bit of a game design engine, and you can definitely play some games on it. I've been playing very poorly on it this morning and dying quite a bit, which is always fun, I suppose. Steve, you discovered this last year, I guess, and had some pretty cool experiences with it. Why don't you go ahead and share that?
Yeah. So this year, actually, it was the first semester. So I teach game design and development, and I'm a big proponent of student choice and letting kids decide what platform they want to work with. So there are a bunch that they typically use. We use a lot of Minecraft. We use a lot of Fortnite Creative, Unreal Engine, and Twine and things like that. But I had a student last semester who, when she was looking for a game engine to create her final project with, she came across Crey, which I had I had never heard of it. And she started working on it. And what I really love about that is a few things. One is it gives my students an opportunity to, of course, have choice, but also it really puts the learning in their hands, because it forced her to have no choice but to learn this engine and work with it and whatnot. And she did a phenomenal job. And, we tweeted out a lot of the things she did, including a trailer that she created. And, that's helped me start to form a relationship with the people at Crey, who have been, really, really great. And they're developing, Ollie will share so much more, but they're developing, pretty full steam ahead. In fact, one of the things we were asking about was multiplayer and the ability for kids to work together in the same world. And, poof, there it is, that kind of thing. So, so super excited to have Ollie on today. I hope the student that I had working with this, I don't have her in class anymore, but I did email her this morning to say that you'd be on. So we'll see if she shows up in one of the streams.
Awesome. And so, yeah, you have a trailer, I guess, that one of your students made.
I do. Let's see. Hopefully I have the right window on, but I am playing it. Is it? Yeah, there we go.
And this was made in Crey.
This was made in Crey, and the blog post reflection and trailer is what she handed in as her final project.
Come on, YouTube.
I know, right? It's that. But look how great it looks, with or without actual movement.
It does look like it's promising, that's for sure.
Yes,
awesome.
And it's the anticipation is incredible. But let's try this again. Let's see if I go back here, if it'll decide to speed up a little. If not, we'll.
It's funny when the internet doesn't cooperate.
Yeah, imagine that. I think a few people are probably using the internet these days, trying to share all that bandwidth.
Yeah, maybe. Well.
All right, we'll go back to
How about while we're waiting for that, why don't you go ahead and introduce Ollie and get him kind of rolling with,
sure.
with talking about this, because it looks really, really sweet.
Yes. So Ollie is a senior developer with Crey, which, man, what a great job, I would think, but I can't wait to hear more about it. But Ollie was nice enough to say that he would join us and do the stream to share about Crey and show you how to start creating a simple game, in Crey. So I'll hand it over to you, Ollie. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you. It's an honor being here. It's really excited to see you guys using it. Well, once we got started with Crey, we really got the ball rolling, because we were really as excited to have this instant game builder in our hands, and that's our main goal, to have this instant builder where you can go in and create games that looks nice when they finally load. And have you play games and make your own worlds and have fun in them? So that's our main goal basically. We've been working for it for a couple of years. We have some programmers sitting in Hungary, Budapest, and the rest of us are situated in Copenhagen, with a small team there, building away on this online creative platform.
Very cool. Well, why don't you show us a bit of the actual system, how it works, where people go to kind of just to get started.
Yeah, I can do that. Of course, you go to playcrey.com. That's our website.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have I'll just sign out real quick here. If you don't have an account, it offers you to go in and play right now. You can do that. You can go and play the games for free. Just click the play now button, or you can start creating and then get into the tutorial area, or you can sign up here in the top right corner using your Facebook credentials or your Google, or just making a regular account. I have an account right now, so I'm just gonna click in with that. Once you click in, you get the option to go through build tutorials, or you can just go to the play area. So as you can see here, this is the main interface on the website. We have the create panel at the top, and the play channels, and the community, and the marketplace. So if you want to go and play some games here, you can just go down there and start browsing whatever other people has created right now. If you just click on one of them, you get the description here. This is called Block Boy Run. It's by a guy called Slugger, I think. And if it has to download an executable for you to start playing it, and this can be done manually up here, but I already done that because I've been here previously. So I can just go and click play, and it will open up the Crey launcher, and I can test out what the other people are playing here.
So you have to. So just to clarify, you have to install. So there is a client to install to get started as well, correct?
Yes.
Very good.
It's a one-time install.
Very cool.
And I have to say, of course, that the software is free to use.
Yes, of course.
That's awesome.
So here's a small game somebody made, an infinite runner, I think, with this cool custom character.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, let's see if I can survive. Oh no! I think I'm. So this is just one button control. Oh, I died. All right.
That's great.
But I think it's great. I can add a comment here and write what I think about it.
Nice. So
that's just one of the many games. This one was, of course, more a 3D runner game. There are side scrollers and top-down games and puzzle games and all kind of adventure games and other stuff in here. That's only your imagination setting the limitations here. So that's the play area. We have some new multiplayer games featured here at the top. So please, at any time, jump in and try them out. We're also working on a new feature, which is shooting. So that's why you see a deathmatch arena right in the center of the screen. This is, of course, still in development, so you will see more and greater tools and weapons be developed as we go. But if we go up here to the top and click on the create channel, you can see the area where I can make my own stuff. This is I have a whole bunch of stuff going on already, lots of work in progress. If I click create new, it will take me to the template area. We have some templates already. We are working on making new ones. The first two you see, that's actually our introductory levels. You will be taken through them when you log in with a new user. It shows you basically how to build and how to navigate the camera, and show you the features in there to make your first simple adventure game. Then we have some preset game templates, and then at the bottom it says expert, but don't let that scare you off. It's basically empty empty areas for you to build in of different sizes, and there's also one without terrain. If you want something to go a bit faster, you can build without the moldable terrain, and then you have some preset environments at the bottom. So
the environments are gorgeous.
Sorry?
The environments are gorgeous.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Thanks. Yeah, I can open up one of these. Let's just take well, actually, it's more fun to take an empty level, because you can create stuff very quickly in the game. We want it to be very easy to get something up and running fast, but also accessible to accessible to new players, but also with a very high bar for those who want to create something more advanced. They can totally do that with the in-game logic. So now I'm loading the editor. So here we are. So it's already a playable game. It's just pretty boring. It's very blue, grayish. But I can go in and add. If I go up and click at the terrain button at the top right corner, or press F1, I get this terrain modeling tool right away. So, and I can go in and I can shape the terrain. I can make canyons and mountains and so on. Sorry. There we go.
Oh, that's cool.
So this is to get like this almost like Play-Doh, right? This clay experience, because you can very quickly get some terrain going, and once you start adding texture to it, it starts actually coming more alive. So let's just add a lot of.
Look at that! That's like magic right there.
Yeah. Oh, we should probably have a pathway going through all this. You can set, of course, the size and intensity of the brush, and you can have like, let's put this above the heel like this, and of course you can extend this into the world. I can also go in and raise the water level a bit if we think that we should have some more of a flooded area.
Wow.
It would probably be too flooded. Since we don't have a swimming functionality now, let's just keep it to a pond at the moment, and maybe just do some terrain around this. All right, and then you can go into the prop menu. This is where all the good stuff is hiding, where you can go in. There are some pre-selected stuff at the bottom already. You can start putting in if you want to have some.
It's amazing, Steve, watching people who are experts at this, who do this all the time, do this like it's nothing. Like you added like a little tunnel with a grass, and like it's like It's great. It looks so good.
Yeah. I'm glad we're not starting this stream by ourselves today like we did yesterday.
Right? Yeah, it would look nothing like this.
Right.
And you can go in. There's also the presets in lighting. So if you have like you want some special moody stuff, you can go in and click on this. Get some stuff going, even some scary fog stuff. So that's also very nice. Let's take this night game, and then at any time I can just, of course, press play test, and then I'm in my new game, and always already starts feeling like a game. This is a horrible.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you made quite the cliff there.
Yeah, you made it. You got some good jumping skills.
Level here. That's pretty horrible, but yeah.
One thing I want to just comment real quick that I love that you brought up is that one of the things I always look for my students is that idea you mentioned of like the low floor, high ceiling. The fact that kids could jump right in and start developing and kind of then hit play and run around their world is terrific. And then the fact that for the kids that want to take it on, or adults or whoever, the ability to get in and do the scripting and what have you, or the logic, as you said, that just, it blows it wide open for what's possible. So I just couldn't be happier, when, than when a program allows that for us. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. We are very happy about that part as well. Yeah, if you want to go in and look at the gameplay props, because real quickly, this is going to be a boring level, right? You're just running around in a world. It might look good, but you want it to have some content as well. So if I go into this book in the lower corner, you get into your prop library, and you have all the basic props from Cray, and at the very top of this we have the gameplay props. Most of the other ones are decorative props from our own sources. It's just I'm getting ahead of myself here. If I jump into like the subterranean area, I can go in here and find stuff like lava blocks and rocks and all kinds of nice stuff, even some pointy stalagmites. And then, of course, we have our third-party suppliers out here who has a lot of packages we can add in. There are samples, and then you can buy more stuff if you go into our marketplace and unlock the different stuff. But that's some pretty cool stuff here. For instance, if you want to build an entire city, you can go down to Polygrade, and they have all these great buildings and vehicles. And more stuff is being added all the time.
Can you create your own models outside of Cray and bring them in?
No, not at this point. This is something we're definitely looking into because it's been requested a lot. But what you can do is that you can go in and work with the primitives here. So you can build stuff and you can share that. You can box it up, so to speak, and share it with other players online. So if I take this box and I start building something, I don't know if I want to build a house or something, I can start. Obviously, I'm not going to build anything elaborate now. We could be on this for quite a while. But let's say I'm building something and I think, hey, this is cool. I can go in and say, let's make it unique by adding some colors. Let's make it like this. Okay. This is great. This is a minimalistic, very minimalistic structure made here, whatever it is. And I can go into my gameplay props and I can find the box in there, and that allows me to share stuff with other people, even if there's gameplay in it as well. This one that says boxing up. If I put that in, I can go in and add these 3 objects. I can put them into the box actually. There are shortcuts for this as well. But now I have this box, and I can actually go in and I can add it to the library. And I can call it my grade box. And I can make it public if I want. So now it's out there for the community. So now if you go into your library and click on boxes on the left side, you get an overview of all the boxes that are available. And if I go to my boxes, it's there already.
Wow.
And you guys can see it too. I would probably have to add it to a category for you to find it more easily, but you can just go in and search for it under all. And that's actually, it appears here as the very first one. So we can grab each other's boxes and start stamping with it.
And it maintains any.
Sorry?
You said it keeps any behaviors it has too. So if it's programmed to do things, so you can totally create just elements and share them for other players to use. That's incredible.
Yeah, some guy made some pretty awesome tanks here, and I can just stamp with them in the game, and I can open them and add my own gameplay to it, right? So I can elaborate and build on what other people are doing. This is also something we're looking to do a lot in the classrooms, of course, because then you can actually have people cooperating on the same projects. So if you're building an Iron Age village, then some people are building in the harbor, some are building the boats, some are building the longhouses or whatever, the smithies, and then they all pack it together and they add it into a shared world, right? So that's pretty cool. We're pretty happy about that share your boxes feature.
Very cool.
So that's nice. And of course, back to the gameplay part of it. If I go to the Cray part of the props, this is where you can add all the good stuff. If you go to gameplay, you have the different props here. It's pretty cluttered at the moment. It's because we are upgrading the gameplay system from an old one to a new one. So you see like two different versions. The darker, flatter ones here with the 2D graphics on are the new ones. And what they are adding is like stuff like variables and calculators and modifiers. So this enables you to do more coding or block coding that you could do with the old system, because now we get a feature where you can actually draw connections between all kinds of values inside the props itself. I can show this pretty quickly if I take like the new input trigger here, and then add some other stuff like I can just go in and say let's put in a variable here, and let's also take, I can see down here at the shortcut at the bottom, I get this is the currency modifier. What I'm looking for is the variable modifier, so I can change what I'm actually building. There we are, right in front of my nose. And then of course we probably want an output. Let's see, we take the number displayer. So what's special about this part is that you can now double click on different ones, and then this is not much different than what you see in other programs like of course Scratch and stuff. Programs like this, they have block coding. We have more of the signal sending signals from one prop to another one. Like this one, I can say that if I have a variable here, I can go in and give it a name, like saying this is my super coins, and they start with a value of 0, but I have this variable modifier I can open up and then select my new variable that I created myself, and then I can say I am adding a value to it. Maybe I'm increasing it by 50. And now I have this variable modifier. I can go in and I can go and say whenever you press attack on the input trigger, I can now pull this wire and activate this modifier, and it will update my variable, which is the super coins, to have more. So this way you can see you can start adding code logic in this drag and drop block style kind of code way now. We could do that already before with the old props, the red ones with the red bottom, but that's more in a 3D environment with less complex setup possibilities and no variables as such. You could do some logic setup, but we are refining this stuff all the time, and so it's making you more able to do more and more elaborate games. This is also what we're using for multiplayer games, where you can do you can set up shops and let people buy new items and clothes and speed modifiers even. So that's something we are very, very excited about. So and I can of course take this the current value I have now here. Let's see, and add it to my number displayer. So now when I play the game, I have the value shown right here, and whenever I click attack, it will increase like I added to. This is of course very simple and useless, but it's just a way of saying this. I'm programming in 3D now, right? Without actually having to write C square code or anything like that. I can just do it by drag and dropping these lines between the gameplay props. So this is something we are working on now to elaborate on, because I'm getting ahead of myself here. But we have of course the old gameplay system still, which is all the basic props, all the red ones we have up here, and we have the sensor, for instance. This is a very interesting prop because it senses where the player is, so you can use that to actually send a signal and start something. In this game, it might be obvious to start some light because I made it pretty dark. So we can put lamps in the trees, And I'm just gonna click in a few here. And then you can just take power from this sensor and add it to these light bulbs I added. I think I should actually make them more bright. So I'm going to go in here and turn up the intensity. So what I have now is I have added these gameplay props. When I play the game, I can't see them, but I can see that they work. Wow, that was probably too bright. Yeah, when I leave the box, it turns off again. Let's see. I'm starting adding gameplay logic to my game already, just by actually adding the code blocks as 3D blocks into the world to make it playful, right? So it's a nice way to actually do the coding, so you don't have to sit and look at the long scripts. You can actually do it in the 3D world. Let's reduce that intensity of the lights again and make them yellow.
So that little area that when you dropped that sensor block, it had like it's space. So when you go in that space, it activates the programming associated with it.
Yes, yeah. You saw the first one I did, that was just an input trigger that reacted to me pressing attack. This one is reacting to me actually moving into it. And you can of course also have the different settings, like the variables say that when they reach a certain number, then the light turns on or the light turns off, and so on. So and like I said, the gameplay props themselves, they're invisible as you play the game. So if I want to see where this area is, I would go in and then I would add this a marker of some sort to actually show me that this is an area where something happens. You can also have more horrible stuff go on. I mean, I can go in and use the primitives I had before to actually build like a trap of sorts, or a wall maybe. Let's keep it more safe than that. So if I make my own wall here, let's make it more brick colored, at least gray, so it's blocked here.
Hey Ollie,
everything.
we had a question if it's possible to turn out the brightness of either the world or your screen. Just some people are having a hard time seeing
Yes.
if it's a little dark.
Let's just switch on to a new preset. This one maybe.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a bad example with the night thing. Yeah.
I got to tell you, right now we have 35 people watching on Twitch, which is pretty awesome. For we've been doing these streams for the last 2 weeks, and it's really neat to see the following grow and people really sharing, and getting into this with us. So thanks everybody who's on, and definitely ask questions and things, because we want this to be as interactive as possible.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna add a lift here because I want to lower this wall I did, so we can proceed throughout the level. So I'm gonna go into the mechanical area of the props here, and it says mechanics. There's something to add physical force. I can teleport stuff, I can animate it, move it, or rotate it, but I want to lift it, or rather maybe even lower it. So I'm gonna add this lift. You can see it actually shows an animation when I put it in, so it shows what it does.
Nice.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to have it target this wall, and then if I double click on it, I can tell it to go to like a minus, let's say a -1 position, and let the effect be smooth and take 4 seconds. And it should be triggered by the same sensor we put up before. So I'm right clicking on that one and drawing power to this lift. So let's see how that will play out. So you get the lowering effect and the horrible yellow light, and it didn't lower enough. But we have this trial and error stuff going on, right? So I can just go back into the level and quickly make sure that it's actually lowering more. Let's say, what if we lower it to -3 instead? And then we can retry it.
Wow.
That's awesome.
It closes again behind me because my sensor is set to be only temporary when I walk through it. So now I'm trapped in this claustrophobic. No, not so much, but you get the drift.
Yeah. So you're basically writing a conditional there, but with
Yes.
those triggers and then tying the sensor to the lift, which ties the lift to the wall. That's really, really neat. I saw like a drawbridge like coming down or something like that. I saw like a lot of cool things you could do. You could make some really neat story kind of is there audio in the game, in the engine? Like, can you record your voice, for example?
You cannot add your own audio at this point. It's still something we're also looking into, but there are music props, there are ambience props, there are sound effects you can add to all of this. So yeah, you can add all these sounds and you can pitch them up and down as you want to kind of make them your own. So you can really make the scene your own, and there's a wide range of music to pick from already. So you can add your own soundscape to the scene. And if you do, I don't think I have sound on now, but when you do it, you can also say, like, I want this ambience to be covering a specific area. So if I put in this ambience, it says wind leaves. I can say that it should have a range of maybe just, let's have a fade out range that's like 40. So, and that way you will actually get a range, and it only shows when you mark the actual
Look at
ambience.
that. Yeah, that's
So in that way I can make local sound areas as well. So that's a good
And
thing
so
as well.
if you want, like, so a best practice, I guess, is if you have music like at the start of a game, you would just set down one of those blocks there near the start of the game and then like put it on as everywhere, play everywhere, and then it would play everywhere. Yeah.
Yes. We have this old record player here. That's our music one.
Okay, there it is.
And if you go in and click on that, you get a whole range of music that you can choose
so
from.
music being different than sound effects. So you have a specific block specifically for music that has prefabricated, pre-built audio, pre-built music that you can
And the
choose.
sound prop is actually a third one. It says sound effects. I can actually also I can go in and I can glue it to an object like the door here, and then I can go in and find a sound. For instance, let's say mechanical movement or maybe some rock movement. And then I can say that the sound should only play on motion. This means actually when I am when the door is moving, the sound will play. But I can of course also trigger it with my sensor. But right now it's actually playing when the door itself moves. I don't know if you can hear it. I think I muted the game itself.
Right. That's cool.
That's so cool.
At all times, you can go in and you can get inspiration from the games that are out there, right? Because some people make some really crazy contraptions, and you can see what they've done and get inspired to do your own games.
That brings up a question too. Is there the potential to sort of remix existing games or kind of modify, the ones that are already out there that people have shared?
This is certainly something we want to look into, especially also for educational purposes. we can do it as developers now, but the public cannot go in and edit each other's games because that would be pretty awesome. So we're hoping to bring that feature to you guys.
That would be great. I mean, maybe if there was just a make a copy kind of feature and then bring it into your own library, that would be awesome.
Yes, I totally agree. But other than that, it's really up to your imagination only what you want to build in here, right? So I'm gonna
Ollie, we have a lot of people excited about this in the stream. People talking about, afterwards. We have, I guess, probably some educators, some parents, some students in, and some of the parents are talking about getting involved, developing games with their children and working with them with this platform, which I think is such an amazing idea, especially, while we're, home in these, uncertain, odd times, to have something like this to work together on, it's just fantastic. So I commend any parent who takes that time and effort to decide, hey, let's sit down together and make a game. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
Yes, and it's free to use. It's only if you want to add a new exciting prop packages you have to pay for it. So, and the game
looks like there's plenty that's free. I mean, right? Like it.
Yes, enough to get you started for sure and get far ahead. So, well, this is a crazy X now. But I just want to add some crazy contraptions. And that's one thing that's very nice is that you can, of course, just do the copy paste thing. So I can get lots of these traps, and if I think they're cool, I can box them up and share them with other people online, right? So they can go and try out my traps. Nice. Right now they don't do much damage because it's just a moving prop. But I could go in here and I could say in my gameplay props, I could take a damage prop.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about that. So right now, if your sprite, your character runs into that axe, nothing happens, right? Because is there physics built like into the interaction, like the collision? Like, is there physics in the collision as it stands right now, or is that something you have to program in with another block? Like, I'm curious what happens if you run into it right now as it is.
Let's bring up our character and see. It's a good question with the physics. They all come with a default setting. For most of them, if not all of them, it's kinetics. So it's I ran into my damage prop, which I added but never added to the.
That's funny.
So he's just gonna go around it. So what it has now, it has kinetics. So it's.
So yeah, it just clips through it. Yeah, which is what I actually expected.
It's actually not clipping through it. It's just because it's such a small moving object. It is blocking me, but it's not dealing any damage to me. But I can change all that really quickly and get it exactly as I want. If I go in here and let's just pause this and double click on the swing blade, I get into the settings menu, and it says physics type is set to kinematic. Sorry, but it's a drop-down menu. And if I set it to none, I will run right through it, which is very convenient if you do like decorative props, for instance. You want undergrowth or something you just want to run through. Mm-hmm. And the kinematic is the default. The dynamic one will actually apply physics to it, so it will fall off and go to the ground. And if I click that, I get a lot of more parameters. Like you can see, I could set the weight for it and the drag, the angular drag, which is affecting it, how it moves. This is something that might not be so interesting for the X. I want the X to actually stay kinematic. I just want to add the damage prop to it. So this was the one standing on the ground, killing me for no apparent reason. Right. So I'm just gonna grab it and move it onto the actual X, and then link it to it, or glue it to it, and then make the area smaller, or it will seem very unfair. So I'm just gonna go in and reduce the damage area to a sphere that is just like maybe just.
So this is like a hitbox. so to
Yes,
speak.
you could say that. I would just want this area to damage me on the actual X. Oh, I think it's just when I accidentally set it to be dynamic, it detached. I think from the. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I should add it again to the joint rotator. There we go. When I set it to physics, it couldn't be glued to something else, so
That's
it fell
cool.
off. But now it's back on.
Oh,
You
there
can
it is.
see
You
now,
can see the damage
and I
effect
take
there.
damage. And the amount of damage is, of course, up to your design to see if it should kill me instantly.
Oh, cool.
This is not so lethal X, but it did damage me.
So you could, in theory, you could like turn that axe into like a hammer, for example, and have the hammer with the hitbox at the front of the hammer or the back of the hammer knock you, and then you can establish physics that when the hammer hits you, you go flying, so to speak, or something like that.
Yeah, right now the physics can't make me fly, but it's something that we're bringing on. But it can affect objects to actually go and move around. So if I put in something, let's just put in a sphere and make it a dynamic object.
Right.
We can see that it should be affected by other props. So I can just go with the default value and see what happens. That's a lot of, because we have this quick play and retest and go back into the editor. We can go back and forth and test it pretty quickly, so I don't have to think too much about it. So now it's knocking them over for weird reasons, and it also applies to the character, of course. So I can play soccer now if I want that, or a giant pool or whatever it is I'm doing here, right?
Oh,
So
Steve,
you can make games.
you could remake Rocket League in this.
Yes, it seems like that's a recurring theme, isn't it?
Rocket League.
The other day we were remaking Rocket League with toilet paper in Unreal Engine. So today we're remaking Rocket League in Cray.
You know what's funny? That would be actually a kind of a fun project, right? Would be to use something like this, which actually, to be honest, seems like maybe the only. So I mean, we've watched people use Unity. We've watched people use Unreal Engine. We've watched people use Scratch, and now this. And I'm thinking through like different ideas, and I tell you, I could see someone like a cool project for a grade. Like I would have done it with like my grade 7s or 8s. It would probably be a good high school project depending on the level, but having kids like remake a level of their favorite game. I think this might be the only one so far where you could get like upper elementary or lower high school kids to actually do that and then be potentially successful. But I tell you, anything that says Pirate Pack on it just gets me going.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Of course,
Now you got me. I stopped talking there for a second when I saw Pirate Pack. I'm like,
was that your jaw that dropped?
I was like, arr.
Of course, you can scale and rotate and add these to however you want them to look and behave. You can probably even do your drawbridge with these wooden fences. Just lay them down.
One of the projects I do with my students is I have them create a Rube Goldberg machine in typically Minecraft or Fortnite Creative. I wonder, I got to imagine you could do that in this and just have something completely automated, that goes from start to finish.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
imagine the Rube Goldberg machines you could build with this. Like you saw the ball, that ball had some pretty like legit physics on it. Like, you could do. Oh, he's making the drawbridge.
For you, that's for you.
Yeah, you can add these gameplays together in all kinds of crazy ways, right? So
wow.
Yeah, because all you got to do is so you turned that rotation box just on its side, and then when you attach the thing to it, see, it just moves up and down
like this.
And then you would just glue. What word did you use for that? You said you called it gluing. When you attach the block to the.
No, it even says glue there. Yeah.
Yeah, to the box.
So and of course I should add a reason for the drawbridge to be here, right? So let's just sorry, let's just make like a canyon here or something. So now we want to get to the other side,
Oh my
and
god.
we want something in here to
Nice.
actually. Maybe you should go and go to a specific area again. If we're using the sensor, we can just put it to the side here. We can fake that there's a what? Let's just put in this mossy rock. That's actually it's a hidden button, right? So you have to know that it's there. So what I and I can go in. Oh, and another neat feature is here. If it's blocking the stuff you're building with, you can just press H and it hides it from the editor. That way, it's still in the scene, but it's out of your way until you press H again. It comes back up. So that's a very nice way to just get rid of some stuff to get to the actual prop below them. Because I want to go to this sensor and I want it to power the drawbridge, right? So do like that.
So now the idea, so the way that this is programmed, if I understand it correctly, is when you walk onto that piece of grass, the sensor will activate the drawbridge and push it and bring it down. Is that the way
Yes.
that this is currently set up?
That's the whole idea. Let's see if I got the angle correct. I'm gonna cheat a bit and move my guy over there so he doesn't have to go through the deadly
The gauntlet.
the the deadly area here. Oh, let's just bring it down to the ground. So this is my very crude pirate village. And if I go over here, yeah, it moves. Now what it also does is it goes back up.
Nice.
So
Oh no!
so what I would need to do is actually say that it should be on forever. But again, that's really easy. You just go into the sensor and says what parameters to set here.
I see.
All the gameplay props, they have this gameplay settings with unique settings ready to use for that particular gameplay prop. In this case, the trigger type is what I want to change here to be it's forever. And it's by any player. I can also change it to be a specific prop or a targeted prop or any prop really if I wanted to react to objects in the game. But now I still wanted to react to me. Maybe it should be a smaller area like this.
I totally see kids creating death runs with this.
Yeah, you can totally do that. So now I triggered it, and even though I left the button, the bridge stays down, and I could cross the deadly gap. Which is good because a boulder is following me. Or maybe it's not a boulder, but
so now also just to clarify too, I mean, obviously, you make it look simple, like Mike said before, but I've noticed even since my student was using this last semester, the number of tutorials is quickly increasing on the site. So you do have tutorials for teaching so many of these different, kind of techniques and tips and such, right?
Yes, there's a tab called Learn Cray, I believe, and this is where you find all these. There are videos and tutorials that can help you on the way. And new ones are being created for the new gameplay props that I initially started talking about. The ones that allows you to make more elaborate games. This is good if you want to do these more complex multiplayer games where you want to add shops and earn coins as you play and unlock new features and items. Then you want to use the new gameplay props. So you can set those in. But to start with, you can just use the red ones, of course, that we have now still in the game. Like I just did in this tutorial.
And Ollie, you're a senior developer at Crey. What is your primary role in development?
Well, I've been helping. I've been taking a big part of actually setting up the editor itself and its functionalities. To support the different kinds of games we're making made available. But now my focus has been shifted actually to the educational area.
Awesome.
So this is why I'm very excited to see how we can take this, and we started testing it in schools, of course, in Denmark first, where we live, to take it out in schools. And the teachers has been very happy with it because they have this very fast immersive world building tool, right? So if they have projects where they need to collaborate on visualizing their dreams or future envisions or even a dream house or a Viking village or ancient culture or whatever, even a power plant, if you want to build that, you can do that in Crane in a couple of hours. Pretty easy.
I'm so pleased to hear that you're, you know, you have a specific interest in education. I mean, of course, as a teacher and with what we're doing, but, you know, that's just awesome. And, you know, however I can support that, I'd love to, in terms of, you know, continuing to encourage my students to use it. I think we were talking the other day too. You had mentioned you've been working on some stuff with your, I believe you have a 10-year-old at home and have been doing some projects in Cray. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, he's using it as well. He's been using Minecraft as well, but it's becoming too blocky for him. So this is why he turned to Cray, because it offers more, at least for him, more game-like environments. So yeah, and I mean, it's awesome if you want to do more of this stuff. That would be great. We'll be happy to see more tutorials and online stuff go on, and we'll be happy to support it in any way also that we can. We're very open to listening what you guys are missing from it as well, right? And if you see anything that you think is lacking or could be better, then by all means,
we're good at giving feedback.
I was thinking a couple things while we've been talking here. First, you know, this stream is kind of sponsored and produced by the company I work for, Participate. And one of the things that Steve and I are working on at Participate is a game-based learning community over there. And this would probably have a really good home there in some way, shape, or form. That would be really, really cool, including the idea of streaming this on a moderately regular basis through Participate. So that would be something worth talking about. You know, we're also working on doing the same. I shouldn't spill this beans. Maybe I'm gonna anyways. We're definitely still talking about maybe doing that with Epic Games as well. And I think that there's a lot of interest in people watching this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And especially, the other.
I'm sorry, like you said, Mike, with the with what we're talking there, and I could see the same thing with Cray, is this idea of doing like a series where we build a game together, you know, in a different platform and go through that whole process. So if Ollie, if that's something of interest to you, maybe your son would even join us. A lot of possibilities.
We'll need to talk offline about that, because I think that's a really cool idea. I did have a question about the environment. So I'm looking at what you're building there, and I noticed that further off into the distance, it looks like the space ends. So there is a limit to the size of the space that you can build on. Is that correct?
No, you can actually expand beyond it. I actually can't remember if the wall can be expanded indefinitely. But you can add props as long as you want. Yeah, you choose your outer limit of the actual terrain here, which is also more of the more resource consuming part of it, of course, because it has a lot of polygons. But I can take the gameplay props and stretch it out forever, basically. This is also why what you saw in some of the infinite runners that you saw. So that it doesn't care how far we go out here. So
but you can't walk out there, right? You can't create like it looks like the world and like that darker gray space. Like I know you're saying you can place props out there, but that gray walkable space ends and you can't carry that forward.
No, it continues. This is just the light settings on the fog, actually. So we can go in and remove that, and it just continues on. So it's just the terrain that's limited. You can build on forever, basically.
But I'm actually trying to clarify that then, that the terrain itself can't continued past the circle.
Yeah, that's true. It can go upwards, but not outwards. But I chose a smaller template you can build with a bigger one. And I will add way more because this is a very limited one, right? There are bigger
Okay,
ones.
so can you show me that? Because I have an idea in my head, and I'm literally gonna play this as soon as we're done.
Yes. Let me save this first.
And
Call it
we also,
something.
while we're at it too, we also have a question in the chat about seeing like a game that might be more advanced in terms of like, you know, maybe something that was created in Cray that shows some depth of what's possible.
Yes, I will show that. Now I save the game. I'm gonna quit. And just want to show you before I do that, I want to show that now I can go into my games. And at the very bottom of my, well, it's a long list. I have my games published or not. This one is not released yet. So this is the one we just built. And I just click on the rocket here and it says release game. And now it's in the play channel now for anybody to go and play and comment on and vote on.
Yeah, that's cool.
So they can do that now if they want. It's not an impressive game as you saw. Yeah, I can go in and show some of the other games made out here. There are so many different ones. Somebody made one that's called Hitman. It's just tried it out earlier today. It's made like a top-down action game. You can move the camera and manipulate it as you want in any way possible. So this one he made it like a top-down shooter. So let's just see if when it starts up. What's really cool about this one is that he created his own character and his own animations with the primitives in the game. So you get this blocky guy moving around. You can actually shoot. We can see he applied physics to the to the barricades there, so they tip over. And now we have a thing to shoot at here. Hitman versus zombies. So they're made from scratch in the game, right? So this is gameplay primitives or primitive squares that's actually mixed together with the pre-made props that we see the streets are made of. He's also making use of the spawner, which is a very nice gameplay prop, which makes enemies spawn indefinitely, I guess. So now I'm having trouble because getting zombies all over the place. And it's also the spawner that makes it possible for him to make these custom. Oh no, I'm dead. The spawner makes it possible to make these yellow laser-like shots. So if you are not happy with the default weapons that are in the game, you can just go in and create your own and have them spawn whenever you click the action button. So that was a top-down action game, right? And let's see if we can go in and grab some side-scrolling action, maybe. We'll go into some of these.
So there is no way, like, is there a method for you to like click on a game and play it and then look inside of it to see how it's been programmed?
It's a way for me, but not for you guys at the moment, unfortunately. But like I said, that is something we want to make open for you guys. Because again, for educational purposes, that would be very, very nice indeed to be able to go in and see and build on what other people build, and especially share these projects between students or even teams or classes, right? So that is definitely something we want to add because we have the feature already for developers. So why not make it public for you guys? Just make sure that credit is paid where credit is due, right? So
that's right.
You know, the creator is honored for his work or her work. But there are hundreds of games out there already, so you can go in and check them out. And by clever use of the camera, like in this scene, and some overlay text, you can actually do these cutscenes simply by turning on and off the cameras at given states. And you can apply these movers and rotators to the cameras themselves, so they actually move around just like you want. So you can make your own dolly cams or whatever overview cams.
This is beautiful.
Well, listen, this is really cool, and it would be really cool to have you back again sometime, and again we'll have to talk offline about how we can get you involved in some of these other things that Steve and I are working on, because I think that there's a lot of room there as well. We're just about out of time, so maybe share again the website and where people can go to play more, and then we'll sign off, and maybe how people can connect with you if they want to talk to you as well.
Yeah, and also, Ollie, you'll be back with us this afternoon, both on the Inside Participate channel as well as the Esports Fed channel, and that comes up at 11 Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern, which is probably 6 o'clock for you out there, something like that.
I think it's 7 o'clock in Central
perfect.
EU. So
perfect. Yeah, so we look forward to that, and this recording from this morning will also be up on YouTube shortly. I'll plop that channel in there too.
Awesome. So
I would advise anybody to go to the Crey channel on Discord if you want to reach out and ask questions. This would be where to go. And the web page for the game itself is playcrey.com.
Maybe this afternoon, Steve and I will make something, and you can walk us through it and tell us how bad we're screwing it all up, because people always find that entertaining too. So maybe we'll do a quick run through of the system, but then actually get in to making something and see how well we do. I have an idea, and I'm ready to go. So thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks to Ollie for joining us, and we'll see everybody this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks.